So we always talk about how Team Fortress 2 is an old game, but sometimes I feel like we forget about what the gaming world was like back then when this game was first released. It was 2007. Back in 2007, YouTube was only 2 years old. Live streaming was just starting up. Twitch wasn't a thing. The esports industry was still in its infancy. Games like League of Legends, Dota 2, CSGO, these games that are multi-million-dollar games now, they weren't even made. So these games are considered esports, right? I'll be honest, I don't really know what the definition of esport is. I don't know if there's a point when a game is considered an esport, but I've always kind of considered it the moment that a player can make a living from tournament winnings or sponsorships. Two great examples to look at would be Dota 2 and CSGO, both games that Valve has also made. Both these games were released after Team Fortress 2, yet they have a larger audience because they have a competitive scene. Let's look at some numbers. During the last 2 weeks, Team Fortress 2 and Dota 2 have had 1.75 million and 8 million unique players online respectively. Let's assume this is close to the average amount of active players each game has, because if you haven't been playing in the last 2 weeks, when have you been playing? You're not active. By the way, I'm comparing these two games because they're both made by Valve and they're both free to play. So, the International 2015, Dota's largest competitive tournament, garnered a peak of 2 million concurrent viewers. That means if you asked players that had played in the last 2 weeks if they'd watched that tournament, 1 out of 4 would say yes. Let's look at Team Fortress 2. The largest competitive event of 2015 for TF2 was I-55. I-55 peaked at 9,000 concurrent viewers. That means if you ask players in the last 2 weeks if they've watched the tournament, 1 in 200 would say yes. First place at the International won $6.6 million. First place at I-55 won about $7,000. TF2 is a long way to go before anybody considers it an esport. But the title of this video isn't, can TF2 be an esport? No. What I really want to discuss here are the benefits that matchmaking will bring to Team Fortress 2. So that's the question. What is matchmaking going to do? And I get the feeling that a lot of people think it's going to bring in new players. There's going to be this huge influx of new players. I kind of disagree with that. Most people know TF2 for the pub experience. When Valve went free to play, there was the largest influx of new players the game has ever seen. And let's just be honest, it's not known for its competitive scene. Those players didn't jump straight into UGC or ESEA and say, I'm gonna play some TF2 competitively. If matchmaking had been released alongside with making the game free to play, might have been a different story, but that's not the case. When you tell someone that knows about TF2 that TF2 is getting matchmaking, you're gonna get probably one of two responses. TF2, that game with like hats and stuff, or you're gonna get, oh, cool. I guess, why is that cool? Doesn't every game already have matchmaking? And that's the one problem I see with matchmaking right now. Yeah, better late than never, yada yada yada, I get that. But when every game with competitive scene already has matchmaking, it's not really anything special to anybody outside of TF2. Why would you start playing a game when there are other options that already have an established competitive scene? But that doesn't mean matchmaking is useless. I'm not saying, oh, you know what, why are we even doing matchmaking? It's too late. It's not going to bring any new players. Nobody cares. People do care. The people that play TF2. What matchmaking is going to do is going to provide people a reason to keep playing TF2. It's going to be kind of similar to what MVM brought to the table. It's not going to bring in a ton of new people playing, but it will keep the ones that are here. You've got guys like me who've been playing for years and the game is kind of becoming a little stale. Competitive has always been an option for me. It's always something that I can say, you know what, let's hop in, let's do some competitive. I've never done it. It could make the experience fresh again. But it's not exactly the easiest transition. You've got different leagues outside of the game. You don't know who to join, what kind of sixes, Highlander, who knows. Matchmaking is going to make that transition seamless. It's going to introduce the competitive scene to a ton of already existing players, and as a result, the competitive scene is going to see huge growth. That's good, right? That's great news. We're going to get a bigger competitive scene because more people are going to know about it. And with that increased growth, we're going to be seeing more streams on Twitch, which is always good because more Twitch streams means more people can see Team Fortress 2. It's going to bring it to the public eye. And this is where it gets tricky. More streams, that's great, gives more people to see a chance, but it's imperative, it is of the utmost importance that someone's first glimpse of TF2 is positive. It has to be entertaining. And that is the one area that I think Team Fortress 2 could really struggle. I know some people are going to disagree with me, but in my opinion, as a spectator sport, competitive TF2 is boring. There's too much going on. It's so hard to follow. It has to be approachable from a new watcher's point of view. There has to be an interest in not just playing TF2, but also watching. That's the difference between a competitive game and an esport. Along with more views are going to come sponsors, larger prize pools, but without those views, without the new people watching Team Fortress 2, not playing, watching, it's not going to happen. So, to summarize everything I've said here, matchmaking is going to be huge for the current player base. It's going to be huge. Competitive is going to see huge growth, but it's up to the people playing the current player base to make it huge for everybody else. Without competitive being exciting, entertaining to watch, matchmaking is not going to save Team Fortress 2. New players have to watch streams and think, that looks really fun, I want to try that. If they don't think that, the scene is not going to grow. That's all I really have to say on the topic. As always, I would love to hear your guys' opinions in the comment section below. Do you believe matchmaking alone is enough to bring in new players, or do you think it's the first domino in a chain of events? Let me know. Love to hear it. As always, thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
This is Heavy Weapons Guy. Thank you for watching Grizzly Berry. Now click that little red button. Ha ha!